dinner with a bunch of former debaters and was met with a couple of my friends from my days as a prosecutor here, and they were very impressed that all these people had come, former debaters, for this occasion. And they said to me, was he the most influential teacher in your life? And I said, I paused and I said, well, yes and no. Yes, he was by far the most influential teacher in my life, but no, in the sense that he was so much more than a teacher. He was the most influential teacher in the sense that I don't remember too many of my teachers, although one of the others I do remember is also here today. But he was so much more than that. He was a great debate coach, and he helped me to success in debate. And Larry Kahn and I, one of my debate partners, were talking last night, and we were rekindling the old Shepard Kahn debates, which mostly were which of us carried the other, through winning debates. And the answer ultimately was Mr. Sanders carried us. And he carried us as debaters, and he carried me to a great education as well. In addition to being a great debate coach, he was actually the best lawyer coach I've ever had. I've been a lawyer for quite a while, and every day I'm a lawyer, I'm amazed that my opponents make mistakes that they never would have made had they had Bill Sanders teaching them. And so he's done wonders for my professional career. So in addition to being a great teacher and a great debate coach, I think what he was most great at was he was really like a third parent, because it wasn't just about teaching us debate or teaching us advocacy. It was about what do you need to develop as a human being, and how am I going to help you do that? And in some ways that's better than a parent, because for one thing, you have a little better perspective if you're not a kid's parent. And for another thing, the kid's actually going to listen to you as opposed to what we do with our parents. And so he was fantastic to me. And the thing that I learned as I've talked to some of my colleagues is he was doing that same thing for pretty much everybody else. And there were, if you count, probably 40 or 50 of us, not counting his advisees. He was doing that for everybody. He was a parent for everybody, and he was a great parent for everybody. There are probably going to be many, many people who will tell you how fantastic he was, and of course, I'm a believer in that. But I'm a bit of a contrarian on this because he did not actually have a lot of success with me. I was a bit immature and obnoxious when I was in high school, and he noticed that right away. It was hard to miss. He was on it, and he would work with me about that. He taught us, as many people will say, he taught us about acting with class, and I took that and I mocked it, and this was when Damn Yankees was out with You Gotta Have Heart, and I wrote a little song, You Gotta Have Class, which was just kind of a joke on what he was trying to teach us. I mocked his hair loss, which I've now come to regret. Quite a bit. I mocked his dating, or lack thereof, at the time. And that kind of came around to bite me later when I was a prosecutor and almost 40 years old, and I still didn't have dates, and he would try to fix me up. So hopefully I learned a little from that. I also mocked his driving, and, I'm not going to apologize for that. This continued even after I left. I found a couple, that's why I have these pieces of paper here. I found a couple of things. He would also always keep in touch with his debaters after they left. And this is 5 years. I'm 5 years out of high school, and he writes Mike Shepard sent along a check for 2 cents, the regular Shepard. You know, he was always working with me. He never yelled at me. He was always trying to get me to be a little more mature and a little less obnoxious. And the one thing I remember most about him was he had this wry smile when I would do something really bad. And this wry smile, ultimately what it meant to me was, you're still not getting it, but I know you eventually will. And I'd like to think I did, at least a little bit. And I know for a certainty that I never would have had it not been for him. You know, as a lawyer, I wish that there was a way to record all the wonderful things people are going to say about him today, so that he, you know, there's a way that it lives on past today. And one of the things that I've been thinking about and talking about with many of my colleagues is a way to honor him in a way that will live on. And if anyone is interested in getting involved in those discussions, please get in touch with me. I'm always supposed to end with some summary, right? Because that's how we were taught. There's some proverb that I'm going to butcher that recognizes the greatness of people who plant trees, the shade of which they themselves will never enjoy. And I think of myself as someone who has lived in his shade for 50 years, about, and I'll always remember him for that, and I'll always be in his debt.